If a woman is cheating, she won't tell you with her words, she tells you with her patterns. Pay attention because most men ignore the signals, and that's why they get blindsided. Cheating women rarely admit the truth, but their behavior never lies. And the patterns they leave behind are universal. Age, personality, or intelligence doesn't matter. Your time, energy, and emotional investment are valuable. You don't need to be naive and wait for her to make a mistake. Understanding these patterns puts you in control emotionally, psychologically, and strategically. You'll gain clarity. See the truth before it hits you. Predictability. Know what her behavior really means. Power. Act decisively without losing self-respect. Stay with me. Main point 1. Emotional energy shifts away. When a woman is cheating, the first thing to disappear isn't her presence, it's her emotional energy. Conversations become superficial. Questions about your day, your feelings, or your plans start dropping off. She becomes distracted, off, and emotionally unavailable. She may still smile, touch, or appear present, but her emotional bandwidth has moved somewhere else. This is why men sense something's wrong, but can't explain it. How to notice it? She no longer initiates deep or meaningful conversations. Responses are flat, clipped, or distant. She seems somewhere else even when she's physically next to you. This isn't random. Emotional energy is like a battery. It can only charge one connection fully at a time. If it's leaving your relationship, it's going somewhere else, usually another man. Men focus on words, texts, or minor arguments. The real truth is an emotional presence or absence. Imagine she used to call, text, and engage without being prompted. Suddenly, she stops. She becomes forgetful about plans, inattentive in conversations, or even irritable by your attempts to connect. That's emotional withdrawal, the first silent signal of infidelity. Observe first, do not confront yet. Detecting this early allows you to see the pattern before it escalates. Most men act too late. When a woman starts cheating, the second major signal appears in the form of changes to her routine and the creation of secret spaces in her life. Unlike emotional withdrawal, this is physical and logistical, a subtle, calculated shift that men often overlook because it feels like life just got busy. But the psychological truth is that a cheating woman is strategically managing distance. These changes are designed to avoid detection while preserving her access to the other man or men in her life. This is why noticing schedule changes, sudden privacy needs, and unexplained absences is crucial because they map directly to where her attention and loyalty are actually going. The more elaborate the excuse, the more invested she is elsewhere.
At the same time, men often underestimate the emotional weight of these logistical adjustments. Each small routine change chips away at the foundation of the relationship. A loyal woman's life revolves around shared routines, dates, conversations, shared responsibilities, and planning. When she starts breaking these rhythms, she is unconsciously signaling a shift in priorities. Your relationship is no longer the center of her attention. And a man who ignores this loses time, effort, and emotional energy chasing someone whose focus is divided. The pattern is silent but powerful. She may still smile, laugh, and act affectionate at times, but the core investment has moved. This is the point where men start feeling confusion, irritation, or suspicion, often mistaking it for a temporary mood swing or external stress. It is not temporary, it is strategic. The creation of secret spaces also goes hand in hand with her increasing guarded behavior. Where she used to leave her phone casually on the table, now it's kept close, face down, or locked. She becomes defensive when questioned, not necessarily because she fears confrontation, but because she knows the truth will be revealed if scrutiny increases. This defensive stance is paired with small, habitual lies. She may say she was at a friend's, working late, or running errands, even when those stories are vague or unverified. What most men fail to understand is that it's not the occasional white lie that matters, it's the pattern of concealment. Patterns do not lie. Excuses, secrecy, and sudden routine changes are all threads that, when seen together, form a clear picture of her divided attention. Understanding this behavior requires men to shift from a reactive mindset to a watchful, analytical mindset. Stop looking for dramatic signs. Stop focusing on arguments or minor disagreements. Start noticing patterns in time, energy, and access. Pay attention to where she disappears, how she handles her phone, and how consistent her schedule is with the past. Compare her behavior to her own prior patterns, not to other women. Women may cheat differently, but these behavioral constants remain: emotional withdrawal, logistical secrecy, and pattern creation. Recognizing this early allows a man to protect his energy, recalibrate his expectations, and act decisively rather than emotionally. Finally, the warning is subtle but critical. Routine changes are not random and they are not temporary. They represent an emotional and behavioral shift that will escalate if unchecked. Men who fail to recognize this phase are often blindsided by further distancing, emotional neglect, and eventually the confirmation of infidelity. Observing these patterns is not about paranoia. It is about clarity, predictability, and control, exactly what your audience craves. Knowing how to spot these logistical adjustments gives men the insight to safeguard themselves while maintaining dignity and strategic awareness. The third major signal that a woman is cheating is the drop in effort coupled with an increase in excuses. This is the phase most men feel first, a sudden lack of attention, intimacy, or emotional engagement that leaves them confused, frustrated, and questioning themselves. A loyal woman invests in the relationship consistently. She plans, initiates, nurtures, and protects the emotional connection. A cheating woman, however, gradually withdraws this effort. She stops initiating meaningful conversations, stops planning dates or shared experiences, and may even seem indifferent to things that used to excite her. At the same time, her verbal explanations for this withdrawal increase dramatically. Work is stressful, I'm exhausted, I just need space, or I'm not feeling like myself lately, become part of a constant stream of justifications. These excuses are not random, they are a reflection of where her energy truly goes. The more she invests in another connection, the less effort she dedicates to you, and the more elaborate her explanations become.
It's critical to understand that this effort reduction is not an accident. Women rarely reduce their investment in a relationship without cause. When she begins giving less, it mirrors an emotional reallocation. Her time, attention, and care are no longer fully available to you. This is why men feel the sting of neglect even before they have any confirmation of infidelity. Most men mistake this withdrawal for laziness, stress, or temporary moodiness, but in reality, it is a predictable behavioral pattern. Recognizing it early is the difference between taking control of the situation and being blindsided. If you notice effort consistently dropping while excuses consistently rise, you are witnessing a classic hallmark of divided loyalty. This is also the phase where her physical and emotional distance begins to escalate. While Badge 1 covered emotional withdrawal and Badge 2 covered logistical secrecy, Badge 3 shows the final shift. The relationship itself is no longer a priority. Intimacy dwindles, affection becomes mechanical or perfunctory, and the connection you once relied on begins to collapse. It's subtle at first, a missed text here, a canceled plan there, but eventually the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Men often continue to chase, attempting to reignite what is gone, but this is precisely when clarity is essential. Chasing only confirms her freedom to divide attention while you exhaust yourself emotionally. Understanding this pattern gives a man the power to act decisively rather than emotionally. Alongside effort reduction, her behavioral cues intensify, revealing her divided loyalty.
She may appear distracted, overly preoccupied with her phone, or defensive when questioned. Small gestures that were once automatic, smiling, playful teasing, spontaneous affection, now seem calculated or absent. These microsignals, when viewed together with routine changes and emotional withdrawal, form an unmistakable map of her intentions. Observant men will see the alignment of all three badges: emotional energy diverted, logistical secrecy, and diminishing effort. These are not isolated events. They are a systematic pattern that signals infidelity. The final warning is straightforward. Ignoring these patterns is a costly mistake. Emotional, mental, and time investment continues to rise as loyalty continues to fade. Men who fail to act often end up trapped in a cycle of confusion, frustration, and eventual heartbreak. Your audience must understand that this is not speculation or paranoia. It is behavioral science applied to real-world relationships. Observing these patterns early allows for clarity and predictability. It allows a man to protect his energy, maintain dignity, and make strategic decisions about whether to invest further, confront the behavior, or disengage entirely. Here's your masculine instruction. Observe. Track the patterns. Don't let excuses or defensiveness cloud your perception. Pay attention to emotional energy, routine consistency, and effort levels. These are your indicators. Once recognized, act decisively. Don't beg, don't chase, don't rationalize. Loyalty cannot be forced, and clarity cannot be ignored. If a woman consistently shows all three badges, emotional withdrawal, logistical secrecy, and reduced effort, the writing is on the wall. Protect your life, time, and self-respect by making decisions based on patterns, not promises. Finally, this is where your brand voice shines. You are the female translator men can trust. You are the authority on what women really think, feel, and do when loyalty fades. By presenting these three badges in clear, actionable terms, you give men what they crave most: clarity, predictability, and insight. This completes the video, leaving viewers informed, engaged, and compelled to comment, share, and return for more.